Welcome, everybody, to this green stage. It's incredible to see this green stage so crowded. Wow. For the next couple of minutes, Universitat de València, for the next hours, is going to take this stage here in VDS under this incredible weather we are having today in Ciudad de las Artes y las Ciencias. So please, I want to welcome you to this stage. She is going to be the conductor. She is going to be the moderator from Universitat de València. She is Lucía Hipólito. She is assistant professor from University from Valencia. We're going to talk about opening world changes technologies. Please, big applause for Lucía. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And as Christian said, I am Lucía Hipólito, professor at the Universitat de València, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our roundtable entitled World-Changing Technologies at the Universitat de València. It's a great pleasure to introduce this great roundtable where we will show the innovation taking place at the Universitat de València. This year, we currently celebrating 525 years from the constitution of our university. Our legacy is rooted in excellence in education and pioneering research. And over these centuries, we have been evolving, continuously evolving, to become a powerhouse of knowledge, embracing innovation, and also fostering the development to get to the future. Today, the university stands as a beacon of scientific exploration and the development of cutting-edge techniques. Our researchers are contributing to not only to the global scientific community by their participation in several projects that are funded, but also they are contributing to change and drive changes to the industrial and societal structures, but they are cutting-edge work in transfer and valorization projects, both with public and also with private companies. And the establishment of 17 startups and through 90 R&D companies that are based at the Parc Scientific. And the most important thing, or the thing I would like to highlight to all of you, is that we do that in all areas of knowledge. And this wide range of areas of knowledge, you can visit and explore it by scanning this QR, and then you will be logging into our scientific and technological offer, where you will see that we have in all areas of knowledge, representation in 25 scientific institutes and research institutes, together with a great core facility with state-of-the-art technology. But also, we cannot forget that we are a high-level education institution, meaning that our professors and our researchers are also contributing to pave the way to the future generations. In fact, they are teaching and educating in the cutting-edge technologies to our students that they will become the future professionals and the future leaders in all fields of knowledge. Our university offers 65 degrees, 103 master programs, 60 doctoral programs, and more than 500 specific and very specific in different fields postgraduate programs, all organized in 17 faculties, 1 school of engineering, and 84 departments in 4 campuses. And as a fruit of this effort, we can say that the 80% of our students are fully introduced in the working market 4 years after the completion of their degree. Today, this roundtable is showing specifically the wide range of innovation that is taking place at the Universitat de València, from nanomaterials made of graphene to legal frameworks of the new digital era to virtual reality, biomedicine, biotechnology, and pharmaceutical technology. We are covering all this wide range of areas. In addition, our distinguished speakers, Gonzalo Abellán, Marcos Fernández, Ana Isabel Blanco, Beatriz Yamusí, Manuel Porcar, and Damià Tormo, they embody the spirit of innovation of the Universitat de València. And they are also showing our greatest asset, that is the people pushing technological boundaries to advance and to create solutions for today to advance for the future. So at this moment, I'm thrilled to present our speakers. We can start together to evolve, and I'm going to explain you a little bit how this roundtable is going to work. We're going to have each of our speakers giving presentations. Then after you, the audience, have the opportunity to make a couple of questions. And at the end, we will have a discussion and questions from the audience. And now it's my pleasure to present our first speaker. And I'm going to take notes because these speakers are having this amazing CV that I don't want to miss a thing. So our first speaker, Gonzalo Abellán Sáez, is a distinguished researcher in the field of chemistry and material science, focusing on the design of two-dimensional and hybrid materials for energy applications. He leads the 2D Chem group at the ICMOL, Institute of Molecular Science of the Universitat de València, with a team of more than 15 researchers and supported by 2 ERC grants. Formerly, he has also worked at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg, supported by a Marie Curie Fellowship, and several research projects as a principal investigator. Gonzalo holds a PhD in nanoscience and nanotechnology from the Universitat de València. And he is also the founder and chief technology officer of Mateco, that is a material technology company with a mission to decarbonize the economy and accelerate the energy transition, starting with solutions for green hydrogen production. Please join me to welcome Dr. Abellán to the stage to present cutting-edge catalysis and electrodes to decarbonize the economy.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. And I want to start thanking the organizers for giving me the opportunity to join this speaker. So I'm very happy to be the first one because I will be relaxed. The good ones will come later. So first of all, let me show you what is the Institute of Molecular Science. So this is the place where all the story I'm going to tell you today was beginning. So it's a building that is in Paterna. And in this building, a lot of chemists combined with physicists, material scientists, mathematicians, even biologists are getting together, and we are doing a kind of multidisciplinary science. So specifically, I don't want to bore you with the installations. This is our building. So the group I'm working with is 2D Chem, and it's a group that mentions two-dimensional materials. And the most famous one is graphene. Graphene was the origin of all this science. But beyond graphene, there are many things. So in this group, I'm a chemist by training. We are working a lot in the synthesis, in the exfoliation, in the functionalization, and a lot in applications of energy storage. And this is the most important slide that I want to show you today. So this is my team right now, 21 people right now, and everything started with them and some others that are now working in different countries and places. So today I want to explain you a story that is connected to humanities also. I like this book a lot. This is from Nuccio Ordine. He passed away, but he's one of the most important humanists in Europe from Georg Steiner School. And he published this book that can be translated as The Utility of the Useless. And it's the perfect example of what happened in our lab. So I want to highlight the book also because if you want to read it, you will find a text from Abraham Flexner, who was the founder and former director of the Institute of Advanced Physics. If you remember Oppenheimer movie, that was the center in which the movie was recorded. And this text is highlighting the importance of fundamental science and how fundamental science may evolve into a reality in the market. And this is exactly what happened to us. So I was working during my PhD in this family of two-dimensional materials, the layer hydroxides. And I have to tell that when I was working on that, more than 10 years ago, no one cared much about them because it was a very old family of materials. They were not on fashion, so there were no high publications talking about that. And even though I was working, that's a beautiful picture of them, we managed to make in the States, and I was working in trying to change the chemical nature of all these balls. I wanted to modify them, putting a combination of different transition metals. So nickel, iron, chromium, manganese. Why? Because I wanted to frustrate the spin, because the spin can be frustrated also like scientists. And what we wanted was to make beautiful hexagons with different magnetic interactions. For what? For frustrating the spin and studying what was the magnetic behavior at 4 Kelvin. So when I was explaining this at home, why I was embarked in this PhD, it was very difficult for me to explain to my family. My mother, for example, was asking me every day, so, son, really you want to do that? Really you want to spend much more than 8 hours per day doing that? And I was saying, yes, probably will be useful in the future for something, but I managed to frustrate the spin with a lot of iron content and whatever. So what happened is, I will illustrate with this beautiful picture. I like comics, and I was asking a comic designer for covers of journals. So most of the covers of my journals are done by artists. I like them. And this illustrates what I was doing, frustrating the spin. So ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic, and so on and so forth. For what? So suddenly, 2012, a paper in Science appeared, and some weeks later, another paper in Nature by a very important group, Michael Gretschel, solar cells, and so on, claiming in this paper that the material that I was dedicating all my life during some years, nickel iron hydroxides, it was splitting the water in hydrogen and oxygen better than any other material, better than iridium, better than platinum, better than ruthenium. So that was amazing because this is much cheaper, as you can imagine, than using precious metal. So when I was reading this, I was activated. So I decided to start learning electrochemistry. And then I jumped into the field, and we published many papers on this direction, but everything was at the fundamental level. But in 2021, we managed to get a synthetic method that we patented from the University of Valencia, and that was the seed. Together with a project from the ERC, the European Research Council, we managed to create a spin-off. So very modest spin-off, and we were doing this catalyst. I have to say that when we created the spin-off, this bottle, the price in the market of the bottle was more or less the price of a house in Valencia. You know what is the price of a house of Valencia. So that was probably one of the driving forces to create the company. So afterwards, let me show you the timeline. So that was the starting of the research I mentioned. New material developed in the lab in the milligram scale, showing that it was very effective. The patent that we created. Then Mateco was born in 2023. And it was formed because we united forces with Subi Group, which is a triple impact fund that I will explain you later. And then in 2024, we are going to open our factory. So now I will jump to the perspective of the company, and I will try to show you very briefly what we are doing. So this is our company. This is in Paterna, in front of the sports city of Valencia. And it's 10,000 square meters that we are now refurbishing in order to open at the end of this year. So what is our market? Our market is green hydrogen. And green hydrogen is very important, and you are listening many news about that, because it could be one of the most appropriate options to decarbonize the economy, but mainly in some industrial sectors that are very difficult to electrify. Think about heavy industry, steel production, things like that, or ammonia production. So it's very difficult to electrify this, and hydrogen can play a big role. Also, long transportation like ships and things like that, or even energy storage in liquid forms, converting hydrogen in other molecules. And the point is that with green hydrogen, it is expected to abate around 20% of the emissions, and this will help society to reach the net zero scenario that is expected by 2050, if we want to survive as humanity. So what is our challenge? The challenge, as you can imagine, is that nowadays green hydrogen is very expensive, and we need to reach a barrier of, some people say $2 per kilogram, with around 3 will be enough for making a good project. And also, it's important because it is a market that is expected to grow dramatically in the next year, because we have right now a production of around 0.7 gigawatts, and we need more than 500. So that gives you an idea of what is the market evolution and why there's a hype surrounding the hydrogen, because we need to obtain this data in order to decarbonize the economy in an effective way. So what we are doing right now products for the green hydrogen production electrolyzers, no matter if they are alkaline, the conventional ones, or the newest anion exchange membrane, AM. And what we are doing is the powder, the catalyst powder, and then some people can put it on their electrodes or in the membranes to create an electrolyzer, or even the electrode already prepared for introduction into the electrolyzer. The electrolyzer is the machine that will produce the green hydrogen. And now we are developing, we have in a pre-commercial stage, our first cathode, which is also PGM-free, so free of precious metals, which is a game changer right now in this business. And this will help us to reduce both CapEx and OpEx in this green hydrogen production. To illustrate, I show you a video. This is one of these anion exchange membrane electrolyzers, one cell, the way it looked like. And our product is exactly there. The one that is brown here on top of the electrode, the water penetrates, and then in these beautiful hydroxides, the water splitting takes place. This one is the oxygen evolution reaction. So this is the consequence of the research that we were doing more than 10 years ago. So they are good, they are excellent, because we are not using critical raw materials. We can supply at the industrial scale, and the next year, the equivalent to 1 gigawatt will be produced in Paterna. And also we can do it in custom formats, because this is an emerging technology, and every company is designing their electrodes in a different way. So there is not a real standard right now in the world, and a company that is flexible and is able to adapt their electrodes to their components will survive probably much better than others. They are stable and, of course, much lower performance. So I'm a scientist. I have to show you some data. I don't want to bore you. So the more you go down in this plot, the better. These are our products. This is the current state of the art of just nickel. So, and this is also, I like this slide because right now we are becoming a benchmark in scientific publications, not only in the market just selling electrodes. There are some important research centers that Hayen in Erlangen, this is Jülich Forschungszentrum for renewable energies, and they are using, instead of platinum, that was the previous benchmark for the scientific publications, our electrodes. And this is one of our reactors for producing the powder right now. So this is a wonderful team that we have, and the CEO of the company, who is also the president of Subi Group, is Iker Markaide. He created Flyware, which is a company from MIT, and that company was one of the first unicorns of Spain entering into NASDAQ with a great valuation. So the other team is amazing, and I'm very happy because some of them are in the audience, so they know much more me than business, so you have to talk to them. So let me tell you just some seconds about Subi. Subi is an investing company that has a triple impact: economic, environmental, and social, and they are very active in other startups. So you have here some of the other ones, and all of them are related to social impact. All of them are trying to fight against climate change and trying to make a better society. So that is very good, because the uniting the forces of university with Subi is something, at least for me, something natural. So it was really amazing to meet them. And regarding the impact, so my last year was a little bit crazy, I have to say, because the impact of this spin-off when Subi entered and we created Mateco, something much bigger, was immense. But I want to focus today in something that happened yesterday evening. So we managed to close our first Series A with 15 million euro, and we are very happy, because with this money we will be able to open our factory, and we will jump from this stage. So because everything that was big, at some point it was small, and that was our origin, and probably you will see very soon, and you will be invited to visit us very soon, next year, this beautiful factory for producing one of the best catalysts in the world for green hydrogen, made in Valencia. So now let me thank all the funding, because all these institutions, they play a big role in some of the stages of the research, and thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gonzalo, for your very impressive presentation and inspiring presentation. We have time for one question from the floor. I have a question, though.
Sure.
Are your materials prepared or ready for other applications other than hydrogen production? I'm thinking about health because I'm in the health business. So is it possible to use them?
Sure. The family of materials and the way we patented that we can produce them in large amounts, that was something that was not able for some compositions, is clearly opening the door to other applications. But we started in those applications that are tangential to ours, so those involving electrochemistry. So you can think in electrochemical CO2 reduction is something, or just water decontamination using electrochemistry. So for those applications, we are exploring right now at low TRL levels, and they are quite promising. So something is coming soon in this direction.
So take notes about this because they can provide some solutions. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Gonzalo. And now, our next speaker is Marcos Fernández Marín. Dr. Fernández is a professor at the Department of Computer Science at the Universitat de Valencia, director of the Robotics and Information Technologies Institute, and head of ARTEC, Advanced Research and Technological Expansion in Computer Graphics. His research addresses distributed virtual reality and augmented reality environment systems, advanced multimodal human system interfaces, and the development of augmented reality technologies for industrial purposes. In these fields, in the last 30 years of expertise, Dr. Fernández has coordinated as main researcher more than 100 projects, including basic research and applied technology transfer. He served also as a visiting scientist at Nissan Basic Research Center in association with Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Technological University of Dresden. He is also a member and co-founder of Intuition Network for Excellence in Virtual Reality and Virtual Environment Applications, and currently is global coordinator of a Horizon European project related to VR and VA. Today, Dr. Fernández will take us behind the metaverse. Please welcome him to the stage.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you to the university for organizing this event to show the general public what we are doing inside the university, because sometimes we are a bit close in our work and in our research, and we are not communicating well what we're doing. So I'm going to try to communicate a bit what we are doing. This title is a bit tricky. Probably for Spanish people around 30, 40 years, it means something. This is from Jose Mota, but I changed Musgo by Metaverse. But the idea is to see what is behind this concept of Metaverse that has become fashion in the last year. Okay, so the initial thing, as a professor, the initial thing is to try to define things. What is metaverse? What we understand by metaverse? There is a lot of definition, but most of them are quite close to this one. We have a virtual space where we have users that can interact with this virtual space, a 3D world, a mathematical 3D world, and they can interact each other, and they can interact with this 3D world. To do what? It depends. So, and here is what is behind the metaverse. So the idea that we have, this is a next step of social network, but our idea is to see if we can do something more than social network with metaverse. And this is a bit what I'm going to tell you in this speech. Augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality are other words that are very related to this concept. Okay? When this concept arises sometimes in science, from science fiction. It was a novel back in 1992 that was called Snow Crash. It's the first time that this term appeared as metaverse. In this novel, we have a society that was relating and interacted through avatars in a 3D environment. So this was the origin of this. There has been another novel, another element that has same idea, but probably in the movie that is also based in a novel, Ready Player One, is where we can see more illustrated or better illustrated this concept. Okay. In this concept, behind this concept, I'm using a lot of the word behind. Behind the concept, we have several elements that has to be in this type of environment. The first one is immersion. When we do some space that tries to take the user outside the real world and put in a world that is fully controlled by us through the computer, we want to achieve immersion. We want that the people is convinced that is in this world. So this is one of the keys that we have to achieve in this kind of environment. Also, it's important to have a real-time interactivity. If we want to keep this immersion feeling, we need that the environment respond to the user, and this interaction is in real time. We don't want to have lag in the timing of our animation or our control. If we are, for instance, managing some vehicle, we want a quick response. And also, for the metaverse concept, we need this part of user agency. The user is part of this world and interact with other avatars in this world. This avatar can be real person, actual person, or can be artificial intelligent control avatars. So this is the other element that is important behind this concept. Okay, and where we are in the metaverse now. You remember the metaverse started to become in fashion maybe 5-6 years ago. It was before. We have things like Second Life, we have a lot of virtual reality element, but maybe around 2018 it started to become in fashion, and the peak of this fashion was maybe 2021. So you know that we have a hype cycle that measures the degree of maturity of technologies. So here you have a vignette illustrating more or less the evolution of metaverse in this last year. He has reached the peak very, very early, 2021. They start a lot of investment, a lot of company to sell space in the metaverse. But then artificial intelligence appears. So there was not so fast. It seems that metaverse has not become a reality as soon as it was expected, because we have other technology that probably is more profitable now for companies. So for instance, Meta has reduced his investment in metaverse. It has not abandoned, but has reduced, because artificial intelligence, they need to do more work there now. But metaverse is not dead. Probably it won't be here so fast, but this is what I want to tell. Probably we don't need that metaverse is here so quick, because we are doing metaverse from the last 30 years probably. And now this is the part that is connected with our university. What about University of Valencia metaverse? So probably a coincidence or not, back in 1992, when the concept metaverse appeared, also a group in the University of Valencia was created. There was the group Artex that I am now coordinating. And from these 32 years now, we have been doing not probably the full concept of metaverse, but we have been introducing these technologies and the advantage of this technology in different fields. So we don't need the whole forest to have some trees. So we can start working and having a good result from our technology and our research, and we don't need the full metaverse. And this is the part that I want to express with this behind the metaverse. So behind the metaverse, we can have a lot of elements that we can start using. And this is a short review of our curricula. So, but not to show, but to express that these technologies are a reality and we can use in real application. For instance, this is a part of my PhD. I was doing my PhD back in 1995. I am a bit old. And we were working in the use of this immersive environment inside driving simulation to evaluate new devices to help driving, to do safe driving. So this is a reality. The environment was not so realistic as now, but was environment and we can do things. We do some research also in collaboration with MIT. Was a institute that was part MIT and part Nissan. And this is our first driving simulator back in 1992. It was not so immersive. This was more, but the idea is that you can use the concept and the basic of the technology with the element that you have in any time. So you don't need to be perfect to start working. Later, we have worked in a lot of simulation projects. I think it's not really the whole concept of metaverse, but simulator are a good example of most of the technologies of metaverse used to do some real world now. For instance, we have been working in a driving simulation for trucks and buses to help improve also safety in this vehicle and also to train people. We have been working in a speedboat simulator to help operation rescue training. We have been doing a lot of different simulators in the area of construction to help workers to do in a safe way his work. So these are some examples. As it was in this slide, we have more than 50 real simulators working in 4 continents now. And we are not a commercializer of simulator. We usually do simulator specific for a specific problem. There is big companies that do big simulator. Our contribution here is to do more task-specific simulators, are not commercial, are most of the time very, very specific for a specific problem. Also, we have been working in the use of this technology, not only in the area of simulator and training, but also we have been around the 4th industrial revolution. Industry 4.0, this is now also in fashion. We have been working in a lot of projects in this last 20 years related to mainly the use of augmented reality and extended reality in the area of maintenance, power plant maintenance, big production plant maintenance. This technology can help the user or the people that is doing the maintenance to do the work in a safe and more productive way. Okay? And also, we have tried to apply this technology to areas like construction building areas, to help in the production, in the virtual prototyping. And also, there is another important area what we have been working is the use of these tools as support for edutainment. This is like education and entertainment, so we have been working in tour guide. For instance, the Casa Batlló augmented reality guide has been developed by us and is working. They have more than 800 devices and probably more than 100,000 people has used this device. So it's a real product that is being used. And also we have been working in Saudi Arabia in the use of these technologies for traffic awareness. They have there a big problem of traffic safety. So these technologies can contribute to introduce this in an easy way. Another important area where we have been working with this is with disabled people, autistic people, and other kind of mental disabilities. So we have developed a specific program to try to help in the daily life of this person with tools that use this technology. And also we have been working in the Saudi Arabia in the creation of a specific center for disabled people that use all these kind of technologies. We have head-mounted display, augmented reality headset, we have a cave, we have different tools to develop a specific training program for these people, adapted to different needs. You will see there a wheelchair that can be inside a cave, and we can use this for evaluation of buildings, accessibility, and so on. And also in the part of the cultural heritage, we have been working in a couple of big projects. The one still now is already finished, and we were awarded with the best research project in this area in 2002 by Europa Nostra, and now we are developing Cheminova. Still now is around silk. We can do virtual recreation of the old fabrics of silk in order not to lose how this was woven, and we can also introduce artificial intelligence to help to categorize and classify all these elements in order to help research in this. And now we are working on Cheminova that is related to the use of augmented reality and these technologies for the preservation of historical monuments. Okay, I'm going to be very fast because I am out of time, as always, sorry. Just a sample, also in the area of health, we can do a lot of things with this technology. We can do simulator, for instance, this one NeoDiag VR, to train people in real procedure in medicine, or we can help to robotic surgery doing simulator or planifier using this, or runner using this technology. Okay, and this is the last one, I promise you. And sometimes we do metaverse for metaverse. This was an exhibition that we do in collaboration with IFEMA back in 2022 when this world was in the peak of fashion, and was a explanation of what was metaverse, and you can create your own avatar and go inside the metaverse. It was like a metaphor of this technology. Thank you, and sorry.
Thank you very much, Marcos. If you don't mind, we will keep your questions for at the end.
Sorry.
Thank you. So we will now move from virtual reality, and we will shift to the crucial topic of how technology and artificial intelligence developed in the scientific field have also landed the legal field, with impact in the construction of a new paradigm of justice, presented by the distinguished Ana Isabel Blanco García. Doctora Blanco García is Professor of Procedural Law at the Universitat de València and co-director of the Institutional Chair for Mediation Culture. Her career has focused on the protection, both in and out of court, of vulnerable people, especially in the field of consumer rights. She is also actively involved in research and teaching innovation projects with an extensive international and multidisciplinary profile, since she has developed research at renowned institutions around the world. In this sense, she participates and has led several research projects focused on how technology affects the fundamental rights of individuals, especially the right of access to digital justice in view of the digital gap and the challenges that the integration of artificial intelligence in the process entails, especially the so-called predictive justice. So now Dr. Blanco García will take the stage to explore the present and the future of artificial intelligence in justice. Do machines humanize? Please welcome her to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I'm delighted to be here today to explain how artificial intelligence and technologies can affect and can improve to achieve the new paradigm of justice. So I'm just take notes because there's maximum of names, different names, and I don't want to miss anything and don't to make any mistake. So when we hear about artificial intelligence, our mind often jumps into the into the fields like computer science, robotics, or even medicine, but nothing to do with the reality. Today, artificial intelligence, AI, is no longer just the domain of the scientific community. So that's why from the legal landscape, we are developing different projects, research projects, to improve technologies, to include technologies in our processes, both in criminal and civil process, and also out-of-court processes. So we are witnessing a shift in the paradigm of justice, and by challenging our understanding in how decisions are made and what role can the technologies play in ensuring a fair, transparent, and accessible justice, particularly aligned with the Sustainable Development Goal 16 to achieve peace, justice, and strong institutions. In this sense, justice is being updated with modern technologies. Tools like LexNet or Clave Justicia or Justice Folder serves to help to streamline the communication between citizens, public institutions, and the public administration and justice. Indeed, access to justice has been the challenge, not a challenge, but the challenge, the important one. So AI promises to democratize this access by making legal services more affordable and available with AI-driven systems and platforms. Natural consequences of this digitalization of justice are effectiveness and sustainability. And the last one, this new paradigm of justice wants to be more people-centered. So this means I want to respect all the rights and needs of the people. And this is the main challenge of the inclusion of intelligence, the artificial intelligence and technologies in our legal system. So the new paradigm of justice seeks to transform the system to be more effective, but it will be a long time before we see what we call robot judge. So the machines are not going to, in the closest future, we are not going to see a machine solving my case, because we have to challenge and we have to face many of difficulties. So now, I'm going just to stress out which are the main line of actions and the developments of the AI and technologies within the legal landscape and the legal framework. So since we have many, I'm only going to focus on these three because of their social impact. The first one is the automation of low complexity and repetitive tasks in administration. Then the second one is accessibility in AI-driven justice to guarantee this constitutional fundamental right to obtain an effective legal justice, an effective legal protection. And then we have predictive analytics, which it's what we call just predictive justice, and where the use of algorithms serve to assist the judges, not to solve the cases, just to assist them. Okay, so and now I want to stress out a few of them because there are many and I need the whole roundtable, not just my time, to talk about which are the main and the most impactful projects already developed and implemented currently, and which are the main goals achieved with them. Because as I said, the new paradigm of justice wants to be more people-centered. So everything we developed is just thinking on people, just thinking on which are the new needs and the real rights we have to protect. So we have, for example, we have the robotization of, for example, criminal record cancellation and the granting of nationality by residence. Nowadays, interested people must apply for that. But in the future, it will be a machine doing it automatically. Then we have, for example, case management systems like LexNet or Acceda, which are used to manage electronic records, electronic evidence, and also documents between practitioners and legal institutions and the justice. So it improves the interoperability among the institutions because the co-governance is one of the important challenges. The communication between administrations and, for example, DCREG allows the communication between hospitals, notaries, and civil registries. Then we have another one, which is document automation and transcription softwares, just to transcript with high accuracy the oral or verbal coherence in seconds, not just taking the time we need. And then, for example, we avoid human errors. We can reduce human errors, for example, by scheduling course calendar, just giving the appointments, notifications to the parties, and also, for example, they calculate automatically which are the summatory of the amount of the criminal penalties. Then we have also virtual desktop, the immediacy, how to be involved in justice. Because me as a citizen, how can technologies help me to participate on equal terms, given the digital gap, on equal terms in this justice? So we have the immediacy, and we have immediacy platforms in which, for example, disabled people can be in their assistance centers while participating in different proceedings, such as conciliation. Another one is, for example, since the legal language is quite complicated to be understood, we have legal chatbot. ChatGPT is not the best one, please. But we have ROS intelligence and case text. And also, we have AI-assisted plain language and easy-to-read formats specifically prepared for people with any kind of disability. But then we have the predictive justice, when algorithms can give me a risk score or a prediction based on large amounts of data. And this is one of the problems. And this is why the human factor cannot disappear. We need the balance between technological and human factors. We have biases in algorithms. What happens if the algorithm is trained with bias that state or that are normal in current life? So we are perpetuating discriminations. Then we have the lack of transparency. How can I, as a citizen, as a part of the justice, challenge a resolution, challenge a recommendation or a suggestion of an algorithm if I don't know how or why we reached to that suggestion or that solution? Then, obviously, the big amounts of the data used could breach my privacy. So we have to establish a strong protection to data privacy treatments and management of the information. And finally, the accountability. This is one of the important questions we are solving now. We are debating on how to solve that, because traditional legal systems rely on the accountability of judges. But in the future, when AI is involved, it's just we have the problem, who is the responsible for the bad use or the discrimination made by the algorithm. So we have to check whether or not we have the responsibility lies on the administration, on the developer of the AI, or even of the people, the judge, for example. And finally, just to go to the end of the question, can AI humanize the justice? Can AI help us to establish a more people-centered justice? The question is yes, but we have to face lots of challenges. So in humanizing the justice is possible with technologies, because for example, we are more efficient avoiding human errors, making it more agile, but it's more cost-effective, and also we can be more inclusive and social responsible, and more or less, and the most important is, we can guarantee the access to justice to anyone from anywhere. But we have to bear in mind that digitalized justice system implies equal efforts or more efforts in forming and educating people in with digital skills. And in conclusion, since artificial intelligence is a good tool to use to improve and to update to face the challenges of the actual society. But we must navigate this transformation to this new paradigm of justice, ensuring that we build systems that truly serve the cause of justice and not undermines the fundamental rights and freedoms of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions? We have time for a quick question to Beatriz, to Ana Isabel. I will make you a question. Could you, because you mentioned predictive justice, come into the stage, please. Because you mentioned predictive justice, can you dive a little bit more into this prediction justice?
So when we call predictive justice is the use of algorithms just to, for example, to analyze in criminal cases, to analyze which is the high risk to determine a bail or to determine an intermission, for example, the provisional imprisonment. And also, we have suggestions of the solution, for example, in conciliations or in mediations. We use algorithms to settle disputes in ODR platforms, but in criminal cases, the problem is we use a data set. The problem is that if you don't use a huge amount of data, you can discriminate people or you can contribute to the perpetuation of this. So that's why we don't have the robot judge. We are going to have AI-assisted making decisions, making the solution to the judge, but we are not going to leave or we are not going to allow the disappearance of the human factor.
Human factor. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now, developing advanced treatments against genetic diseases based in the state-of-the-art molecular technologies is the principal aim of Arcex, a spin-off company of the Universitat de València. Dr. Beatriz Llamusí co-founded Arcex in December 2019 and was CEO of the company until May 2023, when the company raises its Series B. Since then, Dr. Llamusí is CSO of Arcex Biotech. During the initial steps of the project that led to Arcex Foundation, she was granted with different competitive acceleration programs to assess the feasibility of the entrepreneurial project, including training in business, business management and development, IPP, financial and regulatory issues. Her research has centered on the molecular basis of neuronal regeneration and the pathogenic mechanisms of rare neuromuscular diseases, driving the development of a new and personalized treatment approach. With over 13 years of experience, Dr. Llamusí will now present the journey of building a drug development platform based on gene expression modulation to treat neuromuscular diseases. Please join me to welcome Dr. Beatriz Llamusí to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and for the opportunity of telling you what we are doing at Arcex. As you see, a very complicated and long title just to let you know that what we are doing is to develop drugs for diseases that have no treatment. And the only unique selling point of Arcex will be that what we are doing is to modulate the expressions of genes with something that is similar to our endogenous RNA. Just Arcex, at a glance, we are today a clinical stage company because I'm happy to tell you that we have just dosed the first patient of myotonic dystrophy disease with our drug that is called ATX01. In this case, myotonic dystrophy, or DM1, it's a rare neuromuscular disease, which is quite well known, very well described, the mechanism of action. And ATX01 is our investigational drug that is an antisense molecule. It's an RNA therapeutics. One example of this type of therapies is the COVID vaccine, which sadly became very famous. And in addition to develop this ATX01, we are also developing a delivery system that is a way of bringing the drug to the affected tissues specifically. So this is giving us other expansion opportunities for other neuromuscular diseases. As Lucia mentioned, we had our Series B closing last year, led by Columbus, and with this we obtained enough funding to finish the first clinical trial in DM1. Hopefully we will be fundraising during next year for widening our pipeline. Now it looks like this. Our first indication already in clinics is DM1, but there are other 2 indications that we could treat with the same drug because they have similar mechanism of action. So the first one is the congenital form of the disease, which is more severe. I will tell you more about these diseases. And the other one is myotonic dystrophy type 2, which has a different mutation, but again, similar mechanism of action. And we have other developments at the discovery stage, as I mentioned, with our same delivery strategy. Just to introduce you, our management team, which is very highly experienced in rare diseases, clinical development, and also industry experience. And just to give you some background about the relevance of treating this disease, just to let you know, although I mentioned that it's rare, it's still the most common muscle atrophy in adults. There is more than 1 million patients suffering from this disease. They have no therapeutic option, and they suffer from severe weakness and muscle wasting, mainly in skeletal muscles, but also affecting respiratory and cardiovascular system, which is the main cause of death in the patients, in fact. But they also have some defects in the nervous system that is really the main concern of the patients because they are limiting their social interactions, such as daily time sleepiness or some type of, they are in the range of autism. So it is also important to treat the nervous system in these patients. This complicated slide is just to let you know that the mechanism of the disease is very well described. So it's well known that the patients have a mutation in this DMPK gene that is causing a toxic RNA. This RNA is trapping MBNL proteins, and really the symptoms of the patients are caused by the lack of function of these MBNL proteins because they get sequestered here in the toxic RNA. Most of the companies that are competing with Artex are focused on this toxic RNA. They want to get rid of it. But we have discovered that there is another second mechanism that is keeping these protein levels reduced. We have discovered that there is a microRNA. This is a small RNA molecule. If you have, maybe you are aware that this year, the researchers that discover microRNA are the ones that won the Nobel Prize, because these microRNA molecules are modulating hundreds of other molecules in the system. And we discovered that the patients have upregulated levels of this microRNA, and this is reducing the levels of the protein, which is causing the symptoms. So what we wanted to do at Artex was to focus on MBNL, on the protein that is really related to the symptoms in the patients. So it's a new therapeutic approach in the field. We are the only ones targeting this other molecule with ATX01. So what we are doing with this molecule is just to inhibit the microRNA, allowing the protein to express. And we have gone through all these steps just to describe very thoroughly how our molecule has an effect and how we could have a strongest effect than others in the field playing just with the toxic RNA. But this is our secret sauce. In addition to have a new target, what we have generated at Artex is a new delivery system. So we can design antisense oligos, which are highly specific. In this case, in this disease, we are using miR-23B, but we could design this molecule against other targets. And what we are doing is to conjugate it with a hydrophobic conjugate that allows us to bring the molecules to the right places, specifically in these diseases, muscle and nervous system. And this is quite relevant because this type of molecules, which are based on RNA, normally cannot go through the blood-brain barrier, so you cannot treat nervous system by an intravenous injection. You need intrathecal, which is quite uncomfortable for patients. So what we are doing with this delivery system is to allow reaching the nervous system just through intravenous injection. And with this conjugation, we can even increase the half-life of the molecule, which means that we are also increasing the effects of the drug. And of course, improving therapeutic effects and biodistribution. We have tested ATX01 in different species, mice, rats, mini pigs, non-human primates. I show you there the results we obtained with higher doses of the molecule. We have higher levels of the protein. So we have seen that the mechanism of action is conserved in all these species. So if upregulation of this protein is causing any toxicity, we might have seen it in the animals. But until now, in all the regulatory tox package, we have seen that this molecule is well tolerated and is safe. It does not produce any genotoxicity, immunotoxicity, and we have a wide therapeutic window that is allowing us to treat the patients with ascending doses. So this is what we are doing in the Artemir trial. This is a phase 1/2A study, which means that we are directly treating patients. The good thing about this is that, of course, our main concern in this first-in-human study is safety and tolerability. So we will have this data. But in addition, as we are treating patients, we will have biopsies from muscles of the patients where we could already test if we have target engagement, which means, are we having the right effect? Are we really modifying the protein that we are interested in? And also, we will be performing some functional assessments in the patients that will give us some clues about whether really the drug is effective. We will make some muscle functional tests and also extra muscle functional tests, because we are also interested in knowing whether we have an effect in the nervous system, as I said. We have already sites open in US, Canada, UK, and Europe. Hopefully, we will have some readouts of the clinical trial next year. These are all the companies working on the field of myotonic dystrophy with RNA-based therapeutics. Artex is the third one already in clinical trials. All of them are public, so this is like David versus Goliath. But we are confident because we have a new mechanism of action and a new delivery system. So hopefully, we will be more, the therapy might be more efficacious and more potent. And as I said, we can repurpose the drug in other rare diseases which are very related, like congenital, which is a very severe form affecting children already newborn with the same mutation, but they have a very strong cognitive disabilities. So you need to treat the patients very soon in life, and this is something that we are planning to do in next years after having the proof of concept in adults. And also myotonic dystrophy type 2. As this disease is less prevalent than DM1, there is less interest in the industry for these patients. They have no other therapeutic option, but, and it's a very underdiagnosed disease, but our drug will affect the same protein that is deficient in these patients. So hopefully, we will also offer them a therapeutic option. In addition, this disease cannot be treated with other antisense oligonucleotide therapies as DM1, because reduction of the gene that is contained in the mutation will be also causing muscle atrophy. So these patients really have no therapeutic options. These are the main inflection points we expect for the next years. Of course, obtaining the readout from the clinical trials is our focus for next year. But for 2026, we are already expecting to fundraise enough to enter into clinical phases for the other developments that I explained. And of course, the main value of the company, all the employees, we are about 25 people from 6 different countries, a lot of people working remotely. But you are welcome to visit us in the Centro de Investigación Príncipe Felipe, just very close, where we have our laboratory facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. It's just amazing how you are focusing on a rare muscular disease and developing targets for these diseases. Do we still have a couple of minutes for questions for the floor? Come on.
Shy.
You are shy. I'm making all the questions. Well, I will make you a question. In your clinical trial is now done in a unique center here in Spain, in Valencia, or you are already expanding to multi-center and multinational clinical research?
Yeah, it's a multi-center. In fact, we are in Milan, is where the first patient was dosed, but we are also opening sites in San Sebastián, in Paris, in London, and also at least 2 or 3 sites in US.
And how have been the challenges with the ethical committees and
Yeah, it was a long process.
different countries?
Yes, it's a long process. Since we had the approval from regulatory authorities, that was the first difficult step. But at least 6 months, I think we needed until we were really ready to start. So yes, a lot of steps before treating patients that this is really needed.
There's much more behind all that you explained. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. And our next speaker, thank you. And I'm really pleased to present our next speaker, Manuel Porcar. He's a senior researcher at Idosis Bio at the Universitat de València. Dr. Porcar is a former member of the Spanish Biosafety Commission and the Pasteur Institute. And he's author over 100 research publications and patents in the field of the microbiology. And he's very interested because he has dedicated his work to empower the smallest thing that we have in our world, the microorganisms, the infinitely small, to face society's most pressing challenge. As CEO of Darwin Bioprospecting Excellence, he and the rest of the team hunts microorganisms to develop disruptive microbial solutions for today's society to reach tomorrow. So please join me to welcome Dr. Manuel Porcar to the stage for his presentation, Bacteria Come to Rescue.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes? I gave a talk this morning, a pitch, and I improvised a social experiment, and I cannot resist to make it here. So could you please raise your hand, those of you who live in Valencia? Raise your hand. Whoa, a lot of them. So beautiful city, beautiful weather, beautiful people. And then can you please raise your hand, those of you who live on planet Earth? Okay, again, the same result. So I cannot resist again. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, before you go back to your planets, please go to Alboraya to try horchata with fartons. Then we can go back and enjoy this meeting. So beyond the jokes, what I would like to stress is that we do live in an amazing planet. So we all know how beautiful our planet is, how full of life it is. And if you ask people about biodiversity, most people will refer to plants or to animals. So of course there are millions of animal species and plant species in our planet. But what most people do not know is that we also live in a microbial planet. Our planet is mainly microbial. There is 1 trillion of microbial species out there. And what we do in Bacteria to the Rescue is to try to develop microbial products and disruptive products for the industry. So this is a picture of our planet, and you can see a small red dot here, this circle. And this circle corresponds to the amount of microorganisms that are actually known, that are actually culturable, that can be therefore used by the industry to make any kind of products. So the beer you're drinking, the wine that you are drinking, the bread that you are eating, the probiotics that you are taking, and any kind of biomedical device that you're using, which is based on microorganisms, is made with those microorganisms. And this is roughly $20 billion money worth. So imagine all the rest. So what would happen if we could just, even if it was a slightly, increase the fraction of microorganisms that can be used for the industry? The problem in our planet, as we all know, is that we are facing incredibly tough times. So there is a problem of pollution. There is a massive problem that we all know of climate change and warming. Pollution with plastics. You know, there is a very simple calculation that estimates that very soon in the oceans, we're going to have way more mass of plastic than fishes, which is extremely sad. And of course, one severe consequence of climate change is not only that the temperatures are going to rise, everybody knows that, but in many parts of the world, including this one, we're going to get much less rainfall. You know that yesterday it was raining here. It's quite exceptional, unfortunately. We're experiencing in Valencia the worst drought maybe of the century. So there are dramatic challenges that us, and when I mean us, I mean humans and the rest of the organisms in our planet, of course, are going to face. So as I mentioned, of this whole biodiversity of microorganisms, 10 to the 12, 1 and 12 zeros, what we know, metaphorically speaking, we would say that is the tip of the iceberg, but this is not actually true, because an iceberg has 11% of ice just floating and the rest is submerged. But in this case, if we want to go beyond the metaphor, what we know, the amount of microorganisms that we actually can use for the industry are just this tiny penguin that is on top of the iceberg. So all the rest is unknown. Imagine what we could do if we could just shed light a little bit more on these microorganisms and their uses in the industry. So what we do in Darwin, we want to think that we are microbial hunters, that we hunt for microorganisms, that we go out there, either ourselves, in the case of the picture, or through collaboration with many very biodiverse countries, is taking samples, natural samples. Can be feces, can be soil, can be fermented fruit and beverages, leaves, etc. And from those natural samples, we isolate, we culture, we select microorganisms with which we develop a wide range of products for any kind of industry. We have collaboration with a lot of countries in the frame of the Nagoya Protocol in such a way that we are sure that we are sharing part of the benefits with the countries from which this biodiversity is originating. So I'm just going to give you a few examples of the kind of products that we can develop. This is, I introduce you Augmented, which is a shot, it's a fermented yogurt-like thing, which is currently sold in Colombia. And it's super successful there because they are selling like 30 tons per month. That's a lot of these small bottles. And there are two microorganisms that we develop in this product. One is the technical strain. It ferments the milk and it makes a nice thing to drink, like a yogurt, let's say. But the other one is the functional one, the interesting one. And it's a neurobiotic. A neurobiotic is a special kind of probiotic that produces something that is good for your mental health. In this case, is GABA, is a neurotransmitter that migrates from the gut to the brain, and then it has a positive effect on your mood. Of course, this is the scientific part. In the marketing part, if you enter in Twitter and you put Augmented, you're going to read a lot of tweets from people in Colombia who said, I was feeling a bit sad this morning, me tomé un Augmented y estoy mucho mejor. Oh, well, anyhow. Another thing, probiotics. Of course, when you take probiotics, because you are having, for example, an antibiotic treatment, you go to the pharmacy, you take these pills, but there are much nicer ways to take probiotics. We developed for Importaco specific probiotics isolated from nuts that can be combined with chocolate at high temperatures because they resist these high temperatures, and then they are used in coating. So you end up having almonds, for example, coated with chocolate, and embed inside the chocolate you have these probiotics that are resistant to the temperature and that have a positive effect for your health. This is sold in the UK right now. Well, cosmetics, why not? We have identified and selected one microorganism from our collection of 5,000 strains, one Lactobacillus plantarum in this case, that is very active against alopecia, so the hair loss. This is working because it inhibits the growth of other microorganisms that decrease the amount of biotin in your body. As you know, biotin is very important for the skin and for the health of the hair as well. So if you take these pills, if you take these pills, theoretically, you're going to have a decrease in the amount of microorganisms that remove your hair, so to speak, and you are going to have hair for a longer time. I'm not saying this like that simply, but we have clinical assays that demonstrate that it's acting in a positive way. You can find in the internet where to buy it. We are not selling it, so we did it for our customer. Microbial enzymes. So you know that in biotechnology, the saint grail of biotechnology is this: finding something that breaks down plastic. So we have basically two approaches in Darwin. One is the enzymatic one. You can see here. We are identifying enzymes that can break down plastic and can be used in industrial contained facilities. And the other one would be identifying microorganisms that can be cultured, that degrade plastic, and they can be used, for example, on a field. You can imagine an agricultural field which is full of microplastics. Unfortunately, this is almost always the case. You can find fields full of plastics everywhere in our planet. And you can put your microorganisms there, and they're going to degrade, of course, not overnight, but over a few months, you're going to degrade plastic. When I say plastic, I'm referring to the worst possible plastic: polyethylene, polypropylene, PET, etc. We do have microorganisms that degrade those plastics quite efficiently. This is spectacular. I think this is one of the favorite things that we have. We all know about probiotics. So basically, probiotics is a bacterium which is good for your health if you are a human or if you are an animal. But plants do have their own probiotics. They are called PGPR, which stands for Plant Growth Promoting Rhizobacteria. So they are microorganisms that associate with the root of the plants, and they foster the growth of the plants because they fight against fungal infection, because they produce plant hormones, because solubilize nutrients, etc. So in this picture, the lettuce of the left has been just as the control without any particular treatment, and the one on the right has a tiny amount of microorganisms. Then you can have increases, at least with our strains, between 30 and 70%, which is just spectacular. So you have one standard lettuce like that, and then you add your microorganisms, and your lettuce is twice as big. And this is reality. And in the current scenario of climate crisis, the rising cost of fertilizers, this is a massive commercial potential. Bioaugmentation, we work with biogas as well, and we have discovered a brand new order of microorganisms that was not known until now, that is composed of mainly two families that we have named Darwin Bacteriaceae and Wallace Bacteriaceae after Darwin and Wallace. And they work super well to foster the biogas production. Biogas is everywhere in Europe, particularly in Germany and in the Netherlands, but this is a black box model. So they just put everything in the factory, and then they produce biogas. They don't know how much, they cannot forecast, they have no idea. It's a black box. But with these microorganisms that we are developing in the shape of a kit, they are going to be able to inoculate them, and they have a reliable and higher amount of biogas. We have demonstrated this in pilot assays. So I'm coming to the end of this presentation. Maybe we're going to have some time for questions. But to sum up, the take-home message is that we are Darwin Bioprospecting Excellence, a proud spin-off company of the University of Valencia. And what we do is we select from the environment those samples, those microorganisms that can be used to power a lot of microbial solutions in the shape of disruptive products. So as we say in our motto, we empower the infinitely small. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your amazing and very inspiring presentation. Now we have time for you to make questions. Please make questions, because they will have to raise my salary. Come on. Questions for the floor. There's a question over there. Oh, great. The micro is coming.
Thank you, Manel. You know, you chase microorganisms all around the world. How do you know what they're going to be useful for?
Wonderful question. Part of the answer of which is a industrial secret. But I have to say that it depends what you're looking for. Imagine, and this is a real case, that you are a company that wants to develop a kit for the detection of COVID-19, for example. And for some reason, this kit must be resistant to very high temperatures. So you can go to natural hot springs in which you have these harsh conditions, and the microorganisms and the genes there are going to be shaped by natural selection because they have been living there for maybe millions of years under that conditions. Acidity, radiation, oxidative stress, alkalinity, temperature. I mean, the list is very long. It depends. Another strategy is if you are looking for microorganisms that are degrading plastic, you can go to a place in which a lot of garbage of plastic is present. And this is a really bad idea. Because those of you who have kids, it's like saying, well, I'm going to feed my kids with a choice of food. I'm going to give my kid a burger and a broccoli, and he will choose. Yeah, well, I mean, what would we do? We just give him the broccoli, and he will have to eat it, because there is no other choice. So that's exactly the same thing with microorganisms. If you go to a place that is dirty enough, microorganisms are going to eat the easy thing, the burger nutrients in the environment. So they're never, ever going to eat plastic. But you can go to specific places that I cannot reveal that are full of plastic, but they are super clean. So if you are a microorganism and you are living there, you better eat plastic.
We do have another question over here, please.
Thank you very much for excellent presentation. I'm Maya from University of Latvia. My question is how universal are those microorganisms you're hunting, or are they somehow geographically bound? So for example, if you find something in the hot spring of Iceland, is that valid for increasing agricultural yields in Morocco, let's say? So the universality of the solution.
That's a great question. Well, there is one ecologist who said, everything is everywhere, but the environment selects. So it was Basbikin. So the thing is that in microorganisms, there is not a clear answer. So we can say that there are universal microorganisms that are everywhere, but there are some specific microorganisms that can only be found under very specific conditions. For example, Rio Tinto in Spain. There is just one Rio Tinto. If you want to have these particular microorganisms, you have to go there. But if you want to have like a fermented cow milk or something, maybe what you're going to find here in Italy, in the States, is going to be similar. So the diversity of micro-niches in our planet is so large that it is true that you need to know very well in microbial ecology what are the specific parameters that you are looking for. And sometimes you don't need to take a plane to go to the other part of the world, but you need to know very well where are the specific conditions you are interested in. For example, in the past, in the university, we worked with bacteria on solar panels. We started here in Valencia for obvious reasons, and we detected a very diverse community, which is very close to that present in the surface of the sand of the deserts. Then we went to Berkeley in California. So same climate, very far away. Same thing, exactly the same one. North Pole, different climate. The same microorganisms everywhere. How is this possible? Because from a human, the North Pole and here, the climate is very different. From a microorganism, it is not. If it's living in the surface of a solar panel, high irradiation, a low amount of water disponibility, a lot of oxidative stress. So they live in micro-niches. And we need to understand that before flying in expensive way.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
And please. We are now arriving to our last but not least speaker in this roundtable, Damià Tormo. He's leading expert in biopharmaceutics and pharmaceutical technology. He holds an MSc in biological sciences from the Universitat de València and a master's in biotechnology management from EI Business School and a PhD in immunology and molecular genetics from the University of Bonn. Dr. Tormo, managing partner and co-founder of Columbus Venture Partners, has over 15 years of experience in healthcare and biopharmaceuticals, with a focus on life science venture capital since 2010. He has co-founded several biotech companies, including Artax Biopharma, Biocontech Therapeutics, where he has served as CEO from 2010 to 2013. Damià currently sits on the boards of companies like Viralgen and Highlight Therapeutics and is the president of Fundación Columbus, which supports access to advanced therapies for children with cancer and rare genetic diseases. In his presentation today, Dr. Tormo will show us cutting-edge technologies to develop innovative pharmaceutical formulations that are transforming and democratizing the access to vaccines and other biological medications. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Damià Tormo.
Thanks, Lucia, and thanks for having me here. In fact, I think it's the first time we present this project. We've been working with this project for many, many years, but this is the first time we talk about it. And it's called Jurata Thin Film. And if you think about the crisis we had with the COVID-19, the issue was not to develop the vaccine. Companies like BioNTech, Moderna, they already have worked with this type of vaccines for over 8-9 years. They just had to change the sequence with the spike protein of the virus. The big challenge was how do you manufacture thousands and thousands of vials, and how all the logistics, how you bring this that requires cold, that requires to go everywhere in the world. No? That was really something amazing that in a year we could build up so much capacity and that we could treat almost thousands of millions of people. So if you think about all this, there's two techniques to get any type of products, vaccines, bacteria. One is lyophilization, and the other is to keep it in cold chain, in -20 or even in -80. And these are processes that consumes a lot of energy to dehydrate, for example, a pharmaceutical component. It takes a lot of time, and it needs a huge infrastructure. That was one of the limitations, how you build all this infrastructure, all the energy, all the things that you need, and it's one of the biggest bottlenecks for the industry. So 10 years ago, we had another crisis in Africa. It was the Ebola outbreak in Guinea, and we started to work with the Bill Gates Foundation. How could we solve that crisis? No? And the idea was, if we could protect the pharmaceutical compound, the vaccine, in a kind of an amber, like in the prehistoric in Jurassic Park, that we could have vaccines without need of lyophilization, without need of cold chains, because they're in the middle of Africa in a town. There's no electricity to keep frozen all the vaccines. No? And we started and we created the Jurata Thin Film, something to protect all these components. Basically, what it works, we mix with our secret sauce, like the Coca-Cola formula, the active ingredient. We can put it either in a liquid or in small blisters that can be given orally, and then we just have to send it, and you can be used for many years without any type of cold chain. So if we compare with what has been done till now, is that we can reduce the time, we can reduce the energy consumption, and also all the logistics and distribution. And I'll show you now how it works. Because basically, to create 350,000 doses, which is about a package for us with a thin film of 3 kilos. It's like a small box of Amazon. We can send it, and they can receive it. Right now, the industry will need basically boxes the size, not a soccer field, a football field, no, in the US, and over 2 tons to send this. Imagine sending all this in cold chain with planes and all these things, the difference that it makes. We tried for the Ebola, as I said. I think we were lucky that Ebola was so aggressive that we didn't have a crisis. So we were very scared in Europe, in the US. That's why this project that they will come infected and then it will spread in all these countries. But it was so aggressive, the Ebola, that patients that got it, they were dead by days, so it could not spread the disease. But we proved that vaccines without the requirement of cold chains that could be storage for years, they have the same capacity or even better when they were protected with the thin film solution, even better. And that we could give it, instead of using needles, we could give them orally. This is just data showing how is the storage during months, and that you could have the same efficacy of the vaccine, even if it's been 3-4 years outside of the fridge for drugs, vaccines that we needed to have in -20, and in 24 hours, they will be destroyed. So, well, and also that they are efficacious, no? Even if we go over 60 degrees, no? That sometimes can happen if you think about this, going to the desert or something, the treatment could also be protected for several days and under very, I would say, pressure conditions of high temperature. So basically, thanks to that, we have done 8-9 pilot trials with all the big pharmaceutical companies for some of the most known, I would say, drugs in the market. And what we see is, first, we don't need all this process of lyophilization, which saves tons of energy, reduces the cost of the drugs tremendously, and you can increase the manufacturing if you have a crisis, if you have a need very rapidly. The other thing is that you don't need all these cold packs, dry ice, all this cold chain. I can tell you, we have sent drugs in a UC that will require a cold chain, and just to send it from one place to the other, it can cost over 100,000 euros just to send it, because it's not just send it in a fridge. It needs to be controlled, needs to be one person that flies with this, seeing that in any moment the temperature drops, so it's really a very expensive thing to send all this cold chain. Then we also have proof how we don't require, in many cases, the use of needles. You can give it orally. I mean, for example, we have done one pilot with one of the largest veterinary companies, international company, and they changed one vaccine that they have to give to the cows, that instead of sending the product to the vet with the cold chain, having the vet with a small freezer, going to every farm, injecting the cows, they could send it directly to the farms, and they will directly put there the dose to its cow, no? Which reduces tremendously the cost. And finally, it's a process that is universal. We have tried living organisms like bacteria, mRNA, DNA, antibodies, so we can use it for everything. And I think one of the that we haven't said neither is that we are building now here in Valencia the big manufacturing plant that will be producing millions and millions of doses for these pharmaceutical companies in the next years. And well, this is old pictures, but it will be ready by the end of the year in Paterna, a big manufacturing plant to put this. So sometimes these little changes is not a big thing, no? You are just changing how you distribute the drug, can have a huge impact in the industry. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your beautiful and inspiring presentation. You said something really important. A small change can actually change the life of a million people. Do we have questions from the floor? Go ahead.
Can this new method of transportation and manufacturing can be used for other things other than medical products, like liquid aliments or other stuff?
It could, potentially. Anything that it's a nappy, an ingredient could be used. Question will be, we will have to think in which time, maybe to send vitamins to countries that need it. It could be a good idea. We will explore it. I mean, if you are looking for doing some kind of internship in a company and you want to try, you are welcome to visit us and put the new ideas in place.
Well, thank you. All your ideas can be packed into film, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the idea.
Exactly that.
Another question from the floor? No? Okay, so now we are going to set the stage for a little round table with all the speakers. Let us a couple of minutes so we prepare the stage, and we'll be back in a minute. Thank you all. All right. Donde queráis. Okay, we are going to start this part of the round table, the actual round table. Well, we know up to now we have offered a glimpse of the groundbreaking innovation and development taking place at the Universitat de València. And now you have all the experts here to make questions, and we can ask and introduce topics. And I would like the youngest people here in the audience to make questions. You can make it even in Spanish if you need. In order to get all what these really leaders in their fields can bring you. So I will ask first for questions from the audience. Don't be shy. Well, I will start with a question that kind of unifies all of us. All of us have or are part of the Universitat de València, and I would like you to give your ideas to how the connection between university and university environment with enterprise, entrepreneur, how can be done, how has been the path for you during the development of your techniques?
Okay, if you want to start, the oldest one, I think. Okay. In our case, it has been easy because our type of technology is very close to the society. So we have been working not really in so basic research sometimes, but with edge technology that are close to the use in normal life. So in our case, it has been a need to be open to the society because we need real needs, short-term needs. So this is what we have focused in here in companies, here in industry that has some specific needs and try to solve. And our time is not so long as pharmaceutical companies, for instance, or other companies. We need to do something very quick because probably in 3-4 years, you have another hardware that solves one problem. So these technologies usually are long-term technology, but you need short-term response.
Yes, I would like to say that something that I think that we have in common is that we have like one leg on the academia and the other one on a private business. And I think that we must be realistic and say that, realistic or optimistic, and say that the situation is improving. So there has been a cultural change. This was not possible a few years ago. I mean, the university was the university and the industry was the university. That said, there's cultural change needed. And again, I think that a lot of people in the industry world think of people in the academia that is like, arrogant people in their laboratories. Some of them are arrogant people in their laboratories, but some are not, of course. And people from the academia say, but what are you doing in a company? I mean, this is like the perversion of the capitalist system. This is true. This is true. I am working in both because I do believe that in the interaction, in the interface between the public and the private entities, a lot of things can happen. So I have my lab in the University of Valencia, in Itusis Bio, thesis, European project, etc., a classic one. And then the company, a classic company. But then there's a movement of stuff which is wonderful. Some people in the laboratory know that they can have a position in the company, for example. The people in the company know that they can attend in the institute wonderful talks by researchers worldwide. So let's think that the richness will arise from this collaboration. It's not a competition, it's a synergy, but we need to believe that.
Maybe just to complement, I have 2 points that are clearly relevant, at least in my case. One is the gap in language, in communication that there are between academia and the way we work and the industrial world. And some people helping you to translate this and good mates for running this race is super important. So the people that helps you to jump the gap between the academia and the industry is critical, and could be finally will result in success or a total fail. And this is also connected to having some reference. So in my case, chemical companies in Spain is tough, in Valencia also, and we always thought that that was something done in the States, in Germany, things like that. So having some reference clearly to us to guide a little bit will also help us to jump this gap. So I think that the company you have and the translation between worlds is super important.
Hi, normally in legal landscape, we don't, the researchers of legal, the legal landscape and the legal framework are not developing these tools, but we are helping to develop that. Because he said, he told about the synergies between enterprises and academy, but also to developing, in the process of developing these tools, we need to establish the limits according to the fundamental rights. So that's why the legal research in the academy is so important. And we all have to manage all these advances and the progresses together, jointly. That's all.
And for you, Beatriz, how we were talking about how relationship between the university and the development of an enterprise has been in all of your cases, and which have been let's say, the important points that you have to surpass to get into your company.
Yeah, for us, the first thing we did was to license the patent from the university, but afterwards we have been, even in fact the first years, we stayed in the university, we rented a laboratory there, so we were using the facilities, we were using some common equipment, renting them from the university, so that allowed us to save a lot of money, so we didn't need to start a laboratory from scratch. And also we had some contracts for research. We still have a lot of research contracts with different laboratories which are specialized in different areas, especially now that we have other new developments. We are relying really on the specialists that are researchers working for years and years in the same issue. So that's how we are doing research, just collaborating. And for this, the university or research centers are the most relevant.
I think Manuel did an important input here about how our system is evolving, and also Gonzalo gave us also an idea of how we are adapting to this new paradigm of being closer to the entrepreneurial projects. And I don't know, do you think that we still need to work on educating in this way? What would you feel about it?
In the economy we are going, it needs to be an economy of innovation. There's no way that with the classical economy that we have, we can sustain everything, all society. No? We have to do things that creates a pattern, creates an idea that produces a lot of money to cover many of the things that we need. No? And all this innovation is happening in the universities. All the knowledge is there. So we have to create, and I think the University of Valencia lately is doing a great job to generate spaces, to show all the students, the professors, to help them through this process of how you transfer an idea to a company, to a product, no? To the society. Because at the end also, the university works, it's there for the society, no? And to find these problems. It's not to generate ideas, keep it internally, keep it just as a publication. It's to produce things for everyone to improve, no? And I think what I'm seeing in the University of Valencia is that they are really working hard to put the different elements that you need for this to reach the society. Because if you stay passive inside of the university. Nobody is going to come and see, what do you have? You have to do this actively. There are people that showing them, teaching them how to do it. They will exit, do their own spin-offs. Here, there's great examples, but also there are people in the transfer office that can show the projects to potential investors, to potential companies. So this interaction between university and the society or the private sector, it's improving a lot. I mean, I don't see it that bad now. I remember the first one I did 15 years ago. It was a little bit like this, that was something crazy. It was the first one in the university. On the other side, they were saying, you are a scientist that just want money or something like that. But now I think everybody realized, and I think it's one of the jobs the university has to keep doing and improving. And I mean, with the size of the University of Valencia, can be one of the biggest players in the country and internationally. So I think we're in the right direction.
I think this is one of the points that the university has to believe in, because a university has three main objectives, three legs. We have two big legs and one very small legs. The two big legs are teaching and research, but we need to make grow the other leg that is transfer to the society. So we need also, as you say, some help, but we need also to motivate the professor. We have recognized research and we have not recognized transfer. Now it's starting to change, but really administration does not believe fully yet. So also we need some change in the administration. They have to believe that transfer is also part of the university. In fact, it's on all the statement of the university. We have to give back the society what the society give us to do this. And we have a lot of money for labs that has to be bring back to the society that put this money. So this is one point that is starting to change, but it has changed a lot, but slowly. You tell 15 years ago, I started this more than 30 years ago, and we were rare people there that we do transfer, we do practical project, and we have had problem in the career in the university because you cannot do everything well. You cannot publish very well, you cannot transfer very well, so you need to compensate. Basic research is needed, for sure, but also the other one.
Yeah, but maybe continuing on that, I think there is a virtuous cycle when you start interacting with the companies. Because from the academia, we tend to think that what we are doing is the edge of knowledge. Mm-hmm. So from the chemical field or physical field, we are doing at the edge of the last discovery. And then when you start working with international companies, with huge departments of research and development and with huge amounts of money, you realize that sometimes they are even better than you, much better than you. And the interaction with them puts you the focus on the right problems, which is something that in principle we never thought of. And then after that, you start focusing your research, and then you are addressing problems that will have an immediate impact. And the immediate impact will create some business, and the business will create works. And these works will create a better society in the surroundings, and we are not depending only on tourism and things like that. So I think it's a very profitable cycle if we join that knowledge cycle.
And maybe we need to get rid of this dark side thinking about making money, as you said, from the developments that we do, because you are a beautiful example of how your developments are actually solving problems for the society. So maybe is that also a problem that you have been facing, the problem of believing or someone thinking that your development will be transferring public resources to private benefits?
I think it's the other way around, no? Because if you are successful, the university will receive some royalty, some income, no, that they can use to do more things. I mean, that's a model that many universities in the US, UK, they work like this. And we've been working with other universities that when we sold the project, basically they received millions. And that helped them tremendously to build new labs. So why not, no? To receive that back. So I think it's important to whoever has helped to nurture all this project also receives back and can be a following generation of ideas and projects. So I wouldn't see it as a negative thing that something that comes from the university is successful. It's good for society, but it's good also for the university. And I think what we really need is stories like this, because to create a healthy ecosystem, you need success stories. And all the ones I hear, at least myself, are amazing. I mean, I know some of them more closely, others less, but they are top internationally. They are some of the best projects worldwide, and we have them here in the university, and we should realize that and be a way to start more things, no? We can do it from here.
Yeah, you said something which is also really important, and that was the point I wanted to reach. Do you think that now having models, you as models, of how to do this translational work could be offering or pushing a little bit the other 4,000 people working at the labs in our institution?
I hope so. And I really know a lot of people that has come to me and ask, how did you start it? What did you do? And how did you started with the team? Or what was the conversation with the university, agreement, how everything starts? Because it's really the very beginning, which is the most gray area when you are in the university and you don't know how to jump and start something new. So, and I always tell people that you are always welcome if I can help in something. And so it's always a good example, as Damia said, having someone that has gone through this path at some point, even though every project is completely different. But it's good to have scenarios like this where other people can see what others are doing and get ideas from their own projects.
Yeah, maybe adding something. So from the perspective of the researchers, I realized that, for example, in Mateco, we have already 6 PhD holders who got the PhD in Valencia University or at the Polytechnic University. And some of them, they were thinking that there was only one way, that was the academic way. And when they discovered the company, they were super enthusiastic and they jumped into, and they are super happy, at least is what they told me. So that's, I think this is a game changer, because now there is a lot of people asking for positions and things like that, and you realize that, at least from the chemical engineering point of view, that's something positive. But from the point of view of obtaining financing and things like that, yesterday I was in Germany in an important university and in a company, and during the dinner they were asking me all questions on how we managed to get the fund rights and so on, because it was relevant even for Germany. So imagine in Spain. And having close people that can help you or give you advice, or go with these funds or avoid these options, it will be a catalyst for creating much more companies. And the University of Valencia has the people.
Yeah,
we need the catalyst.
Yeah, and we have the support of the institution with the transfer and valorization unit and all the programs that the university is doing to prepare also our students for the next generations. We are leading the end of this time that we have for this roundtable. I would like you to don't miss the opportunity to ask questions to these beautiful and very important leaders in their topics and their fields. I'm begging you to make questions.
So thank you very much for this very, very nice colloquium. And we have here what I would say there are 3 very successful spin-offs of the University of Valencia. And I would like to ask any of you, if you had to ask the University of Valencia for something which would be good for your initiative, for the success, something that we could do in the future, what would that be?
Thank you. I see that that comes from me. Well, I think we have had a lot of support from the very beginning. really, and this comes not only from the institution, but from people from the university that was really involved in pushing the project. In our case, I think the lack of laboratories here in Valencia, not only in the university, but the lack of access to laboratory facilities, I think that's an important disadvantage, because other projects, when you start at the beginning, we didn't have funding for research, really, or not for establishing a whole new lab. So for us, it was really amazingly helpful to have the opportunity of renting a lab and having access to the common facilities. And this is something that it was quite unique. I mean, we were very lucky that we had this, because for others, imagine having access to an animal facility. And that's something that others just start from the very beginning, so you need a lot of investment. So I don't know if there are initiatives like this in Valencia, because most of the incubators are focused on offices, meeting rooms. But for the people that needs a lab, that means a huge investor. So I would ask for something like this, especially in the scientific parks. We didn't have access to a lab because there was no more space. It's completely full. So I would ask for something like this.
Thank you.
So please expand the scientific park of the University of Valencia. I think everybody is asking for that.
Yes, please.
Thank you for all your contributions. And we are leading at the end of this roundtable. And you make such a great point saying and stating that the Universitat de València is a beautiful place to develop your ideas. So thank you very much, all of you. And you are very welcome to reach us through email and to look for the scientific and transfer offer that the University of Valencia has available for all your needs. Thank you very much.